Welcome to the hair show, the hottest, biggest hair show on the planet. I'm Ursula Stevens.
And I'm Kia Marie, and we have Kah Spence here today. He's going to be showing us how to flip our hair. So tell us a little bit about this tutorial.
So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get like these really cool loose waves. We see them trending all over the internet. You know, people just taking their irons and flipping their hair, giving you a nice cool loose wave.
Love it, love it, love it.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's do it.
So what tools are you going to be using for today's style?
So I'm literally just taking a flat iron and a cool curling iron, a brush, some combs, and some holding spray. And literally that's it.
Kah, so can you talk a little bit while you work?
Yeah.
Okay, give us the truth about protective hairstyles.
So I've been hearing lately that like the way wigs work is they're a little scary and they can look unnatural. I think because we've been seeing what they look like on the internet and people just aren't applying them properly. And so I think a truth to that myth is that we should be learning how to apply that protective style properly because, you know, sometimes you need to apply your wig over the hairline to make sure that you're not getting glue or any sort of adhesive right on top of the hair because your hair can break off.
Got it. Because I know that you're really big into wigs and weaves and things like that, so I figured that you would be the authority to set us all the way straight.
Thank you.
So what's happening here? What kind of curls and waves are we getting into?
I'm just doing a loose barrel curl, but then I'm gonna brush it out with one of my favorite brushes, actually. It's really cool. And I'm taking small sections just because I don't want the hair to be too loose, but I also don't want it to be too tight either. So I'm just taking this curling iron.
So for it to not be too tight, is that the trick? You take smaller sections?
I take smaller sections and then in the end I just brush it out with a brush that has like soft bristles. Nothing too hard because I don't want it to kind of, like I don't want to use a comb on my fingers because I don't want it to look too spaced out. Like I want it to still look together and soft, but still like a nice, cute wave.
Cool.
Dope. So let's get back to the basics. Like, what is the foundation for this type of hairstyle? Is this something that we can do at home?
Sure, it's something you can do at home. Literally just pop in your everyday curling iron and or flat iron. I see some people have been doing this with flat irons because the flat irons like this have rounded edges, so you can do something like this with flat iron. I personally, my hands don't work that way. Don't judge me. But I just personally can't do it with a flat iron, but I think doing it with a flat iron can become easier for some.
Got it. So do you have to flat iron it first before you do the barrel curls? Like,
it depends on the hair texture we're starting out with. So her specifically, I just wanted to flatten out her roots.
Okay.
Because she has naturally curly hair. And so her hair was already straightened, but I decided to flatten out the roots just a little bit. You don't need to if the hair already has like a softer wave or like a, you know, a finer texture to it, you don't need to.
So with that said, are you working with a lot of natural textures these days?
I ask myself that all the time because some days I feel like I am, but some days I feel like I'm not. So yeah and no.
Okay.
I have one client, Ella May, who's natural, but her texture is just a little looser than, you know, like a 4C or a 4A or 4B. You know, she has a little looser texture. So yeah.
Got it. Okay. So when do you feel like when you have a girl, a client, you know, that's transitioning from relaxed to natural, when do you feel like it's the best time to do the big chop?
I think once you start seeing your hair has become too damaged, and once you start seeing that like it's breaking off, it's getting really brittle, and it's getting to a point where it's unmanageable to comb through and the detangling process is like unmanageable, I think it might be time to do the big chop.
Yeah, I agree, because like I didn't big chop, I transitioned, but wigs played a instrumental part for me being able to grow my hair out and not touch it, so I didn't really have to see the manipulation and the breakage.
Right.
But if I could do it all over again, I definitely would have big chopped, definitely.
So with that said, how do you feel about protective styles turning against you, if you know what I mean? Like when they become abusive, what is your thing
What do you
with
mean?
that? Because I feel like a lot of girls are like, oh, protective styles, but then they're like, oh my God, braids made my hair fall out.
I feel like unless it's cornrows under a wig or cornrows as a style, that's the only protective style in my eyes, because I feel like what is individual braids really protecting you from other than the time that you're doing your hair? But that's from a consumer standpoint, because I know I have like a lot of flaking, my scalp is itchy, you know, when I take it out. And I really just feel like cornrows is the only thing that's really protecting your hair. What do you think, Kai?
I agree with that because I think it depends on the type of person. I know some people who, like you said, their hair flakes up. So individuals aren't the greatest, or, you know, they may experience like tension in their head. So like individuals can cause tension at times. So I hear some people saying that their hair breaks off and things like that. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend a protective style like that. So I would recommend cornrows or a wig and or a weave or something of that nature.
Yeah,
What's
I
the
agree.
best
I agree.
for you guys? These are for both of you guys. What is the best like moisturizing routine when you're dealing with protective styling?
Reapplying and reapplying all your moisturizers, leave-in conditioners. If you're doing braids and you really can't get into the scalp, or you have a wig, you want to get something you can spray on so it can really get in there. I think it's all about moisturizing and using the right products for your hair that are penetrating. You need that. When we have naturally textured hair or coarse hair, we need moisturization and nourishment, and that's the key thing.
So let's switch back off to straightened hair and blow-dried hair. What's the best way to moisturize straightened hair without weighing it down?
I'm gonna give that one to you, Kyle.
Best way to moisturize straightened hair without weighing it down. I usually use like a really light amount of oil, especially on, again, finer textures, because a lot of the clients I work with have finer texture hair. So I try to use a light amount of oil, still some sort of oil, but not as heavy as like a super heavy leave-in conditioner, or like the same amount of oil you'd use in your hair, because it wouldn't need the same amount of moisture.
Right.
It still need moisture, just not the same amount.
Right. So I hear you dropping all these big names, LMA and things like that, you know.
Okay, Credence.
So I want to know, how did you start doing hair?
Ooh, let's take it back. So I think I started out with family. You know how you start out your family's like really like, oh yeah, I need you to
Give me
do
a
my hair.
blowout.
I think I was like 13 and my aunt had came in the house and she was just telling me how she really wanted this Mary J. Blige inspired cut. And it was like a really chic bob. Went in the room, got some kitchen scissors, cut it, loved it.
What?
Exactly. I was like, I'm 13, what's happening?
Right.
After
Kitchen
that,
salon.
like my mom started teaching me how to braid. My mom started teaching me how to really, you know, sew. And then I think from there, I had booked, like a few years later, I booked one of my first clients who was Tanisha from Bad Girls Club. You guys remember?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So she was like one of my first, I guess, celebrity clients on that level. And then from there, I booked Elle Varner. And then from there, it just kind of grew, and then we got to here.
Okay. So has it been all good, or can you tell us about some hurdles that you have faced in the industry?
I think I've had some challenges. Like, I've had moments where there's one particular moment I was working at Taco Bell, and I think I was stuck for a moment. I was lost trying to figure out where I was going with my hair journey and where things would lead to after that. You know, I was stuck trying to figure out what I wanted to do next with hair. So I think that was one of the moments. And then throughout the course of my hair journey, I think it was more of a situation where I went on tour one time, and throughout the tour, like my mom had passed away towards the end of the tour, so I think that was a moment where my eyes opened and I was just like, yeah, this was a little interesting for me.
So what's the coolest look you ever created?
I think the coolest look for me I ever created was Cardi B Harper's Bazaar Icon Party. I think that was the first time I've ever put 7 bundles of hair into
7
someone's
bundles.
head. 7 bundles. And I think I was just like, this is a lot.
Really?
This is a lot of hair.
Can you walk us through that process?
So we started out with a ponytail earlier in the, we had created like the base ponytail. And at first I was like, okay, where are we going with this? Because I thought I was coming in, the reference picture they sent me was a sleek ponytail.
Right.
And Cardi was like, no, I want big. And I was like, how big do you want? And she was like, no, baby, I want like massive. And so I was like, how much more hair do you want me to put? And she was like, go big or go home.
Ooh,
so I'm
honey,
just like,
you wasn't trying to go home.
I wasn't. I was
Okay.
like, ooh, I wanna go. So I'm just like stacking hair and
Yes.
just stacking a bunch of hair. And then we got to the end result, and her stylist had walked in. He's like, oh, this is it. And I was like, okay. It's the first time I've ever did this, but okay.
I love that. All right, so Cardi B, LMA, who else have you worked with, and who else do you want to work with?
Kaylani, Winnie Harlow, Normani, Iggy Azalea.
Receipts?
Who I want to work with?
Yeah.
Beyonce, Michelle Obama,
Yes.
Oprah.
The list goes on.
Yeah, the
Yes.
list like really goes on.
So walk us through what you're doing right now. After you curled your hair, what are you doing now?
I think I'm going through these final touches because I know some people like really sleek hair and then some people like that kind of messy finish.
Yeah.
I like it to sit right in between because I don't want it to look too perfect. We're still in the summertime,
Right.
so you can, of course, can expect flyaways. You, of course, can expect
Yeah.
things to move around. So I still wanted to have that sort of kind of messy element to it, so I'm not gonna sleek it too much. So I'm just spraying a little of the flyaways down, and then I'm gonna attack some of the baby hairs in the front, just to give that extra like sleekness.
What are you spraying the flyaways with?
Just a humidity blocking hairspray to kind of protect it from the heat, but still hold it together.
Got it.
And I see that you used heat. You know, heat damage is a big thing. What did
is
you
a
use
big
to
thing.
protect her hair?
So I use this Sleek and Shine heat protectant that has like argan oil in it, that has shea butter in it. And so what I use, before I started this, I blowed dry the hair out, used that on it, and then started flat ironing it, and then started curling it.
Okay. So you know, I'm not gonna let you leave here without giving us some of your hair secrets. So I want some of your hair secrets
Yes.
for
How you
hair
slay a
growth.
That's what I want
For
to know.
hair growth, maintenance, and protective hairstyles. Just give us one secret for each.
Hair growth, definitely maintaining a healthy diet.
Okay.
What were the other two?
Maintenance. Like if you have an amazing style like this, what's your trick to maintain it?
Bonnet, scarves.
Definitely a bonnet, definitely a scarf, tying this down at night. For a style like this, I think the easiest thing to do,
Yeah.
2-strand twist that night,
Okay.
tie it up in a bonnet,
Yes.
and then you're good to go.
Are you a silk bonnet or a cotton bonnet person?
Love a silk bonnet.
Okay.
Love a silk bonnet.
Only the finest of fabrics, okay?
And one of your tricks or secrets to protective hairstyles.
One of my tricks, definitely maintaining the natural hair under the protective hairstyle. So whether that be trimming, whether that be maintaining the healthy diet, anything you can to maintain the natural hair under. Because I think people lately have been neglecting their natural hair
Yes.
as they get these protective styles, and that's a no.
Wait, so what's happening here? Are we laying some edges in baby hair right
That's
now?
white.
Damn.
That's
Uh-oh.
white. I've never seen an edge control that's white. Can you talk about
So
why
I
this
love this
product
edge
works?
control because it goes on. It's actually not really an edge control, it's a molding paste.
Okay.
Which I use for many different purposes. I use it for ponytails, I use it for edges, I use it for baby hairs, I use it
Yeah.
to lay down the nape of the hair. I like it because it dries matte.
I like that.
It doesn't have an oil
Yes.
base. I think that's
Nice.
why it's one of my faves.
That's the worst thing when you have like, you know, your hair is nice and shiny, but then your edges are super shiny. And it's like, it's not balanced. So I think that's a great, oh, I
think
love
that's
it.
why I really love it.
That's nice. That's nice. Any tip for laying baby hairs?
Well, these have become one of my favorite brushes because it has that tipped point on
Yeah.
the edges. So I think try to find either something with a tipped point and or like a comb attached to it because they've
Yeah.
been having a lot of those lately. I think those are pretty cool to use. And then just make sure you're following the motion of the hairline. I think that
That is a key thing, guys. Make sure you follow the motion of your hairline. It just looks more natural that way instead of forcing it into a direction.
So there was this big thing on Twitter when people were talking about baby hairs, and they were just like, "Oh, it's just broken hair." What do you guys think?
Well,
Ah.
some baby hair is really baby hair that's really fine, that doesn't grow, and it's a different texture in
What's
your
the
hair.
difference?
But you also have shorter hair around the hairline that are broken, and you can use that. You can fake that as baby hair. So baby hairs come in all different sizes and shapes, ladies and gentlemen.
they do come in all different shapes and sizes. That's 100%.
Some people don't even have baby hair. Some people have really full, long, healthy hairlines, and they're actually cutting their hairline so they can have baby hair and kind of like doing that whole little fake thing. So it's a trend, so.
So how long is this style gonna last?
This should last her for at least about the rest of the week. I think if she does a 2-strand twist at night, I think if she ties it down, at least, you know, maybe reapply her edge control, maybe at the 4th day out of the 7th day, because you will sweat.
Yeah.
Just in case you're going to work. It's the summertime. It's hot outside. Definitely, it should last at least a full week.
So as far as like reapplying heat, is that something that people should be doing daily?
This is her natural hair out on top, and what you don't want to do is keep reapplying it and it breaking off, and then we don't have any natural hair left on top.
Yeah.
All right, so when I used to do wigs and had a straight wig, my leave out really suffered. So what are we doing to protect the leave out?
Using as much heat protection as possible and not putting so much heat on it daily, which is why I recommended the 2-strand twist at night, tying it up with a bonnet just so you don't have to use as much heat throughout the week. Once applied at the very beginning, straight throughout the rest of the week.
Perfect. Like that. And I'm so impressed with this leave out because no one has a leave out anymore.
Thank you so much.
Everyone is like full wigs now.
Yes.
So I think that was great that you came and showed us a great and healthy leave out.
Love it.
Let's get a 360 of this finished look. Yes. Ooh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Give us waves. I'm
Yeah.
seasick.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to use the hashtag TheHairShowBET so you can be a part of this conversation. Bye.